All right, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing how artificial intelligence can help with the purchase of a small or medium sized business. Stay tuned.
I'm David C. Barnett, and you're tuned in to Small Business and Deal Making, the podcast, YouTube channel, and blog where I talk about buying, selling, financing, and managing small and medium sized businesses while controlling risk. So if you're looking to take control of your future through buying a business one day, or if you already own a business and you're looking to grow or exit, you've come to the right place. I talk about interesting things, I talk to interesting people, and I answer your questions every week right here. So be sure to hit like and be sure to hit subscribe, and let's get to it. Are you thinking of growing your business or beginning a journey into entrepreneurship? Take a shortcut to success by buying an existing and profitable business the right way. Visit businessbuyeradvantage.com and learn more about my online training, group coaching, and consulting services designed to help you win.
All right. So if you're online and you're part of communities where people are chit-chatting about buying or selling businesses, or if you watch YouTube videos or you subscribe to any emails, you've probably seen articles come up about how AI is going to revolutionize the world of buying small businesses. And so, as I kept seeing more and more of these articles, I started to get a little bit curious about it. And like many of you, I've been playing with ChatGPT for quite some time now, and I've noticed AI sort of infiltrating a lot of the other tools that I use in everyday business life on my computer. So I thought maybe it's time for me to actually take a little bit of an investigative dive into this whole world of AI as it relates to us in the world of small and medium-sized businesses. So naturally, what I did is I went over to visit my good friend ChatGPT, and I asked, can you give a list of ways that generative AI can help someone find a suitable small business and acquire it? And then, of course, the robot was happy to oblige me, as it always is, and created this list. So I want to go through this because some of the things on the list I think require a little bit of further expansion. And so, the very first thing is market analysis. It says you can utilize AI to analyze market trends, demand, competition in specific industries to identify potential business opportunities. Business matching talks about developing an algorithm that matches potential buyers with businesses for sale based on criteria such as industry, location, size, and financials, right? And so, at first glance, when I started looking at this list, I'm like, well, you know what? Financials in the world of small business are private, unless you're in some of the European countries, for example. We don't often know about the size of a business because, again, a lot of the details or bits of quantitative data about small businesses may not be readily available to us. We could certainly, search things like the yellow pages using AI to find all the businesses listed under a certain heading in a certain geography. That's something we could do probably. And so I started to look at some of these things, and what it kept reminding me of was just the fact of how tools like ChatGPT work. And for those of you who don't know, and I'm not a data scientist or an AI expert or anything like that, but what I understand is that they feed massive amounts of content into this algorithm, which studies the way that words get put together in the order that they sometimes appear in. And so when you make a prompt or ask it a question, what it's doing is it's knitting together words in patterns that it knows are frequently seen from the information that it has analyzed. And so it's knitting stuff together that sounds probable, sounds good, sounds possible. I mean, many of you have heard warnings about how you need to fact check what comes out of these systems. For example, viewers out there have sent me screenshots before of ChatGPT in which ChatGPT has credited me with writing books that don't exist, right? And it's just because if you ask questions about the world of small and medium-sized business, I've got a lot of content on the internet that attaches my name to this topic area. And so in that one instance, ChatGPT gave me credit for writing a book that I never wrote, and the book doesn't exist. Like if you went on Amazon and looked up the title, it doesn't exist, right? So that's the kind of stuff you have to be careful with. So when I started to read some of these points, being a little bit skeptical, I started to want to know more background information on some of these ideas. So, financial forecasting, sure. If you have a set of financial statements, you could probably build an AI model. There probably are some out there right now that can work on cash flow forecasting. I teach people how to do cash flow forecasting in one of my programs. If you go over to bizplanschool.com, you can learn all about that. I teach cash flow forecasting on Excel and how to put those numbers into a business plan to either attract investors or get a bank loan or something like that. So yeah, I could see totally AI doing that. Risk assessment, use AI to evaluate potential risks associated with a business, considering factors such as market volatility, regulatory changes, and economic conditions. So I don't know how AI is going to predict what regulators are going to do. That seems like a bit of a stretch to me anyway. Automated due diligence. That's interesting. We're going to get back to that one. Let me skip that one for now. Natural language processing. Leverage NLP algorithms to extract insights from business documents, contracts, and online reviews. Okay, again, this is kind of like due diligence, right? So let's put a pin in that one for now. Chatbots for inquiry handling. Implement chatbots to handle initial inquiries from potential buyers, providing basic information about businesses for sale and guiding users through the early stages of the acquisition process. So, this I don't think really is something that a buyer would do, but somebody who has an online business for sale platform could certainly do this. And I think Nunzio over at buyandsellabusiness.com has actually done this, where they've built, they've used ChatGPT and fed the data from their database into it to try to create this sort of thing, where it's like a robot that will answer questions about the businesses they have listed for sale. There's decision support systems. Create AI-driven decision support systems to assist buyers in evaluating multiple business options. Now, as you'll see when we get through this list, increasingly what this generated response is telling us to do is it's saying how we may or could use AI in one way or another, but it's assuming that we have the talent and ability to actually create some kind of AI-based tool to help us in our search. And of course, I don't know how to do this stuff, and I'm guessing that most of you out there as well don't know how to do this stuff either. So it's hypothetically, sure, these things may be possible. Personalized recommendations. Develop recommendation systems that provide personalized suggestions based on a buyer's preference, skills, and financial capabilities. Again, completely theoretical, right? Legal and compliance assistance. Implement AI tools to assist with legal and compliance aspect of a business acquisition, ensuring that buyers are aware and comply with relevant regulations. So, again, very theoretical. So I have seen something done by my local provincial government that is kind of like this, where they have this tool called, I think it's called BizBuddy. And basically you go into it and you start answering questions about a business you want to start. It's based on startups. So you put in information and it'll ask you questions like, in what city are you going to do it? What kind of things are you going to do? Are you going to serve food or whatever? And what this tool does is it then creates a list for you of all the different things you're going to have to do in order to get the business open. So if you indicated you're going to serve food, it's going to say you need to have a food handling license, for example. And if you say you're going to do that in a certain city, it might say in that city, you're going to need this permit from that city. And so it was built as a tool to try to navigate regulation. Sure, they didn't need AI to do it. That's been around for like 10 years. But could this stuff happen? Sure. Is it something that you can do at home today to help you in your search for a small business? Like, no, right? Simulation and training, negotiation support, post-acquisition integration, trend analysis, again, relying on access to information that you would need about a specific industry. If you were in an industry and you had your own data and industry data from some kind of trade association, you could potentially use AI tools to analyze, if it would maybe make sense for you to go and acquire a business in another state or another market or something like that. Sure, I could see that. Networking and matchmaking platforms. And so again, these are some of the online platforms might be able to take advantage of some of this stuff. So let's scroll back here to the things related to due diligence, because in my mind, there is, some opportunity here. I think this is the one section of this article that I think we need to dive into a little bit more. So the next thing that I did when I after I generated this article was I said, let me go find some other articles about this stuff, because I wanted to just see, if there was other information out there supporting this. So I started to do some Google searches about, how M&A will be affected by artificial intelligence and stuff like that. And so I started to find, different articles. This is from a group called Tata Consulting Services. And I read the article, and, there's all kinds of stuff in here. And it was interesting. And then I went and found this other article. This is from Thomson Reuters. And again, lots of information here. But as I got into all of this stuff and started reading more and more, I eventually found this nice image. So this is clarkstonconsulting.com, and they're M&A consultants. I actually found some products, right? So I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so then I started to look at some of these products, and I thought, what are these products doing? Let me go and take a little bit of a dive into that. And there's one in particular I want to show you here. This is Midaxo. So I went and looked at the Midaxo website and started to read around in here, big numbers that they're talking about here. There's screenshots of their tool. And I got down here, and, they're working with people like Daimler, FYI Doctors, Cognizant, Philips, Nielsen, Hewlett Packard, right? So this is not about small business. These are, very big businesses, right? And so a lot of the content in these articles and a lot of what I gathered from some of these tools is that what they're doing is they're using AI to try to jump into and manage the enormous volume of information that is likely existing in some of the larger businesses in the world of M&A transactions. And so as I was thinking about that, I remembered a movie. So I don't know if any of you have seen this movie. I highly recommend it if you haven't. So it reminded me of this film that came out in the early 2000s called Syriana. And Syriana is basically a film about an M&A transaction. So in the movie, an oil company is being purchased, and they do a lot of business in this fictional Middle Eastern country called Syriana. And so the film is basically about, the investigation into the due diligence of this company to understand everything that's been going on in this business. And I went looking for images, and I couldn't find any. But if you watch the movie, there are scenes with like lawyers' boardrooms stacked mile high with documents, and a warehouse scene, I believe, if I remember correctly, with just like pallets of boxes of paper, right? And it's one person's job to basically dive through and go through all of that paperwork to see what might be discovered in all of this due diligence, right? And of course, the acquiring company is looking for some kind of problem that might expose them to risk once they become the owners of this company. And so when I go back to that ChatGPT article, and it talks about, analyzing due diligence, it says implement AI tools to streamline due diligence process by automatically collecting, analyzing, and summarizing relevant information about a business, right? What we're talking about there is processing massive amounts of data, and massive amounts of data are typically found in larger companies. In the world of small business, our typical challenge is that there is not enough information. The small businesses just don't keep the kind of records that we need. The information's not available. And so we often have to fill in the gaps in our understanding through things like proper deal structure, so that if something turns out to be wrong after the transaction, we have options on how to make adjustments for that. And so the natural language processing, leverage NLP algorithms to extract insights from business documents, contracts, online reviews. Online reviews was the thing that really piqued my interest, because as we start looking even at the smallest of businesses, I'm starting to see more and more businesses that people are buying that have like 1,000 Google reviews, for example, right? And so to basically scrape all that information or download it all or and feed it into something like ChatGPT and then ask it for trends or ask it for, information about all of that stuff, I can definitely see that there's a certain value there. So am I optimistic, or do I think that there's a future for AI in the world of small business? Absolutely. But I don't think it's going to play out the way that some of the articles out there are shaping it up to be. So as you've probably noticed, when I use Word to create a letter, increasingly it's trying to predict what I want to say. And it's getting better and better, right? And a lot of the tools that I'm using in my business are introducing AI. So, every week or so I log into YouTube and I actually look at the comments that you guys leave under my videos. There's a tool there that lets me sort all the unanswered comments. So I can just go through this list one after another and see what people have written. And I try to reply to as many as I can. But the system that I use to kind of help me with YouTube has now started to suggest AI generated responses. So I tried it once. So one of you out there left a comment. You got this really great response. It was like 3 or 4 sentences. I normally don't have the time to write that much stuff, but AI made it for me, and I read it, and it was generally, yeah, I agree with that. So I put it in. Now, am I going to start doing that with every comment? No, I don't. I don't think that's a very, I don't know, what's the word? I like to invest the time to reply to you guys. Like, I like to read what you're saying. And even if it's short, I like to put in something that legitimately comes from me. But the whole point is that these little AI helpers are starting to infiltrate every aspect of small business. And so I think that, as you are working towards doing an acquisition, whether it's taking a list of, all the businesses in a certain industry, in a certain geography, creating, a better letter or a better script or a better way for you to reach out to that person, or it's taking information that you've compiled about a certain industry and organizing it in different ways. I think that AI is going to play a bigger and bigger role in just making it easier, faster, and smarter for you to do these things. And whenever you take the grunt work out of anything in business, what it does is it allows for more time for the truly creative thinking aspect of business. And that's where creativity really blossoms, right? And so, was it quick for me to make today's video by asking ChatGPT to create this list right off the bat? Sure. It just took a few seconds for me to do that, and it became the basis of this video. So I saved maybe half an hour of my time, which I would normally put into dreaming up what the video would be about and structuring, how I'm going to talk about it, right? So I think that there's a future for AI in helping people buy businesses. I think that in general, AI is just going to make small business more efficient and more effective overall. And I think that what this means is it's going to be very positive for anyone post-acquisition, that things are just going to keep getting better and better as long as you're open to the change that AI tools are going to bring into possibility, right? And so with that, I want to finish off with another thing about ChatGPT that I know you all love. I used it to write a limerick. So I said, write a limerick about how there are no easy shortcuts when it comes to buying a small business. And of course, ChatGPT was very quick to do this, so I'll read it for you. It says, a young entrepreneur quite spry, sought a business, thought he'd soar high. But shortcuts he learned left his dreams overturned in the labyrinth of deals, oh my. So anyway, if you didn't like that, I didn't write it. Completely created by a machine in under 10 seconds. I thought it was kind of funny, but yeah, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. If you've been using AI tools in any way to help with a search to buy a business or to help in preparing to sell your business, please put the comments down below. I'd love to check those out. And yeah, with that, I'll say thank you very much. Great to see you all again, and we'll talk really soon. Bye.
So, how can you learn more about buying, selling, financing, and managing small and medium-sized businesses? Easy. Go over to my blog site, davidcbarnett.com, where you can learn more about me and how I work with my clients. You can learn more about my books and courses that I prepared for you, You can find out how to subscribe to my email list, the YouTube playlists, and more. There's literally hundreds of hours of content there, all for free, and I'd love for you to be my guest. Special thanks go to Mark Willis at Lake Growth Financial, today's video sponsor. Mark helps people better manage their personal and business finances through the Bank on Yourself insurance strategy. This is something I've done personally and I've seen others use it successfully for years. Go to newbankingsolution.com to find all the interviews I've done with Mark and learn more about the advantages of these programs. While there, sign up for a free consultation to learn what this solution might look like for you.